Okay, look, I know you have footage sitting on your computer right now that you've been meaning to edit into a vlog, but you've just been feeling way too overwhelmed. And trust me, I understand. Editing your first vlog can be intimidating, but that is why I'm here to walk you through it. I've shared many video editing tutorials in the past, tips and tricks to make things go faster, make your videos more high quality, but I've never before shared my workflow from scratch. We're talking importing and organizing your footage, creating a rough cut in the timeline, adding music, sound effects, and crafting a narrative in the edit. These are all the essential steps involved in making a good vlog that not only you are going to feel proud of and you're going to be excited to watch again, but your audience will enjoy too. So I'm going to be editing a vlog with you today in real time. Timestamps will be included throughout so you can see how long this really takes me. And if you're curious about any part in the process in particular, there's going to be time codes in the description so you can skip to whatever is most helpful for you. It's kind of a rainy, dreary day here in the van, which I think is perfect for a cozy editing day. So why don't you join me, make a cup of tea, and let's settle in to get editing. All right, so to get this party started, we're gonna need my laptop, of course. I'm just editing on the latest MacBook Air. Because I'm working with a MacBook Air and not a MacBook Pro, I don't have an SD card slot. So that's what this dongle is for. So I've got my SD card for my camera. I filmed this past vlog using my Sony camera. If you filmed on your phone, you could just airdrop the clips instead of transferring them with an SD card. And I'm gonna be editing off of my external hard drive. This is a Samsung SSD. I like to do everything off of an external hard drive so the actual internal hard drive of my laptop doesn't get really clogged up, which would eventually slow it down. And I edit all of my videos wearing my Sony headphones. These are the XM6s, I guess. Really, like any headphones will be just fine. I swear it looks like nighttime out there. It is like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Actually, let's see what time it is. Okay, 3:05. That is where we're starting today's edit. So let's open up the laptop. And the very first step is importing all the footage. Since I've got my external hard drive and my SD card plugged in, all I gotta do is open up a Finder window. I like to open up 2 different windows so it's easy to drag and drop. Over here on my external hard drive, I have a folder for YouTube for 2025 and then a folder for the month that I made the video in. So this one is my first video in October. I label all of my video folders starting with the number that it is in sequence of the videos I've made this year. So this is my 30th video and it's a productive day in the life. Okay, now going over to my other window, I'm gonna open up the SD card, and Sony makes it complicated, but you got to go into M4 root and then clip, and then we can see all of the clips that I shot here. So I'm just going to select them all because I know all of these are for my vlog, and then drag them over to this folder. We've got 54 gigs of footage. This is for just one day of vlogging, so we're in for it, guys. So my next step is going to be opening up Davinci Resolve. I've been editing with Davinci Resolve for like a couple of years now, and I pretty much started using it because it has a really robust free version, and I wanted to be able to share tutorials with you guys that didn't require you to have like a really expensive monthly subscription. And the nice thing about Resolve is there's actually no subscription at all. Once you buy it once, you get access to all the future versions, so pretty great. Okay, basically we're going to go ahead and create a new project, and I'm going to call this one the same title that I gave the folder. So productive day in my life. Resolve is always going to open up to this blank page, which I think can feel really intimidating because it's like, oh my gosh, where do I even start? Well, the very first step is to go down to the bottom here and switch over from the cut page to the edit page. I prefer this. It makes a lot more sense to me. And yes, you're still dealing with a blank slate, but trust me, it's gonna start to make sense really soon. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my Finder window where I have my folder with all of my footage. And all I'm gonna do is click on this folder, and then I'm just gonna drag it into Resolve under this master panel here. I'm gonna click change, that's fine. And now you can see on the left-hand side, I have a little folder here that shows, you know, productive day in my life and then all of my clips. I like to click on this down arrow here for the sort options, and I want to make sure that it's sorted by date created. This will make sure that it goes in chronological order, which will just make it easy in a couple minutes. The other thing that I always do when I'm starting a new Resolve project is I have this assets folder over here in my, main YouTube folder where I have like music, animation, B-roll, graphics that I use again and again. So I'm going to just select these folders, and then I'm going to do the same thing that I did for my main footage folder, just drag it over into the master panel here, which will have, thankfully, preserved all of my like file organization, because you can see I have a bunch of subfolders within each of these. So I'm just gonna collapse that because I don't need it just yet. But now I've got my main footage folder here. Let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see all of the clips that I shot for this vlog. And when the time comes, I can go over and I can like go through all of my many folders of music and whatever I need to easily pull that. Okay, I had to retrieve my tea because now we're about to start with like the real editing. So let's do this. I will admit at this point, we're kind of diverging into the world of preference, okay? Everybody is gonna approach editing their videos differently, but hey, you clicked on my video, so I'm gonna show you how I do it. And I'm gonna start by editing the intro front to back. So I have some intro clips that I filmed actually like the day before I shot this vlog. And what I'm gonna do, you can see this was my third attempt based on this face I'm making. Basically to start off my edit, and I'm gonna click on create new timeline using selected clips. Okay, I'm gonna name the timeline the same thing that I've named the folder that all these clips are in, the project that we're in right now. I just like to keep that really consistent. And I'm just gonna double check here under format. Yeah, okay, so we've got it in 4K to 9.97. Okay, so that's all good. All of that is looking good. All of my settings are good to go. So we're gonna click create. What I'm gonna do now is watch it through, cut out the mistakes, cut out the pauses, of course, with the goal being that I am gonna edit this entire intro right now before I even start touching the rest of this video. So let's do that. Not every productive workday has to start at 5 a.m. Why is it always? So just a quick note on what I'm doing already. So I like to edit my videos so that audio 1 and audio 2 are always like the talking clip. So in that way, I'll like kind of layer the end of my last sentence, like right here, over the beginning of my next sentence. And I just find that makes it like a little bit of a pacier edit. I can tell from how small these waveforms are that those are like mistakes, or I'm like kind of talking to myself. So I'm just going to delete that right away and continue. People anyway. You might feel like in order to be a successful content creator, you need to hustle and grind and spend all of your waking hours focused on content. So at this stage, you can already see what I mean. I'm like alternating, like every other audio is on either audio 1 or audio 2, just so that it's really easy to like overlap them. Okay, so that's the like base level of the intro edited. We're just at about 57 seconds, so that feels like good for an intro. So this is the point where like I could just dive in and start editing the scene that follows the intro to a similar level of fidelity that I've just done with the intro, right? Like basically just a rough cut. My personal preference though is to actually go in and do quite a polished cut on the intro, get it to like, you know, 90%, and then start going through scene by scene, doing that again in scene chunks. I just personally find that more satisfying, and it gives me more of a feeling of like what the vibe of this scene is gonna be. So then I know when I'm gonna start editing the scene that follows it, how I might like contrast it to the previous one for the sake of making it more like pacey and engaging. So okay, so my vision here is like when I say like you might think you need to do this, this, and this to be a successful creator, I'm just gonna go back and like use some of my past B-roll of like me doing like creatory things so that, you know, for the sake of a visual example. So we'll go like content creation. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that clip. So I'm just gonna start collecting a bunch of B-roll clips here, and we'll kind of organize them out a little bit better in a minute. We'll see if I end up keeping all of them, but we'll just do kind of like a quick selection. I kind of feel like that could be like first. Moody lighting, that's nice. Contrast, here we go. The problem is now all of this B-roll that I filmed over the past like several years, I have different hair because I got a haircut, but we're gonna use it anyway. You can tell it's me. That one's good for when it's like, oh, you know, burning out or whatever. Kind of gives that vibe. Now I've got a handful of B-roll clips that I feel like relate to what I'm saying, so I'm gonna listen to it back and then start arranging them based on like how I feel like it fits together. As you can see, having a B-roll library that I've collected over the years really comes in clutch when I'm like trying to do a bit of a montage, you know what I mean? On second thought now, I like don't even like that. I think I'll do this instead. So now we're kind of moving out of like the zone of montage that I had in mind, and so in order to keep it still like kind of engaging and interesting, I'm going to basically use like cut-ins, well, punch-ins I guess would be like the name for it. So I just go over to the inspector panel here under video, zoom. I'm just gonna put like 1.3, so then it's kind of like balance than your 9 to 5 does. You might as well just like that. I just think that'll make it just to keep this part visually interesting, even though we're kind of getting out of the B-roll zone. Just keep the 9 to 5. I'm gonna do the same thing on this one, just to like alternate again, make this one a punch in. Same with this one, we'll do another punch in. Okay, so I'm like kind of happy with this. I still think that there's room for this to improve, but I think I'm gonna move on to the next step here, which is finding music to go in the background. I have a library of past music that I've used before, but when it comes to vlogs, I don't wanna just rely on the same background music, so I'm gonna go and like seek out some new tracks. So honestly, one of the big things that I'm looking for when I'm searching for music in vlogs is variety. If it's just strictly background music, I'm okay with leaning into just like lo-fi, hip hop, like that works well and I like how it sounds. But when it comes to the storytelling aspect of vlogs, I feel like there's more that you can do there, and I actually get kind of bored if the whole vlog is just like lo-fi. Like it feels like background music that you're trying to use as foreground music kind of. So like some acoustic pieces that are like more jazzy, I like to get some that are kind of like folky, like, you know. And the main thing is we need some that feel like low energy, relaxing, kind of chill vibes. And then we need at least some that are a little bit more upbeat, exciting, grab you back in case you're kind of starting to get like, you know, sent to sleep. The exact genres you go for are going to be preference, but I think variety is really the main thing. Okay, we've got some music. Let's add it to the timeline. So I think I'm going to use this track here, and I'm just going to drag it into my audio 3 track here. Now, obviously, this is gonna be too loud. I will just go ahead and select this clip, go over to inspector and go to like -25. I might adjust that depending on the track. When I play back, what I'm looking for down here in the mixer panel is I want my audio 1 and audio 2 to be landing between basically -10 and -5. And then probably I want audio 3 to be kind of closer to -30, but you know, somewhere down there. So now we're kind of at the stage where we're ready to cap off this intro, to have it like fade out, right? So we obviously aren't going to have this track just continue on forever. Something that I like to do is I like to just make a cut before the end of my audio track, and I like to bring that to the end of my segment because I just find it very satisfying. It feels like a concluding moment to actually have the music track end properly rather than just fade out. Now, something that I like to do to kind of like transition a scene, especially this where it's kind of like the end of an intro, which is sort of out of the timeline of the narrative that we're about to flow into, I like to transition using some of my animations that I have saved here. I especially like this like film flicker kind of a look. So what I'm gonna do is just press I, play it a little bit, press O to set my in and out points, and then I'm just gonna drag it onto the timeline. Now, obviously if I do that, it's quite abrupt and also not exactly the aspect ratio I want. So I'm gonna go over to inspector, we're gonna zoom it in so that there's no black bars, and then I'm gonna go down to composite here and I'm gonna switch from normal to, I think we're gonna do multiply. I am gonna drag those in so that I have like a fade. If you're wondering where I get visual and audio assets like that to use in my videos, it's actually from Storyblocks, who's also very kindly sponsoring today's video. I've been using Storyblocks for years to get stock footage, background music, sound effects, visual effects, animation templates to use in my videos. I honestly think if you're a content creator starting out, Storyblocks is the one subscription that you need because you get unlimited access to all of that stock media for just one monthly subscription. Everything included in Storyblocks is monetization safe, so you're not going to get any copyright strikes. You can use it on YouTube, Instagram, wherever. And I love that everything on Storyblocks is created by real human artists. It's not AI, just really beautiful, like non-cheesy imagery that you can use in your videos. I mean, I'm sure you can also find cheesy stuff on there too, if that's the vibe you're going for. And like I said, you can get access to all of it for just one subscription price. And in fact, if you sign up for an annual membership now using my link, you'll get a bonus 3 months totally free. Make sure you go check that out soon though, because it is a limited time offer. In fact, I just found out you only have a few more days to take advantage of this. The bonus 3 months goes away on October 27th. So if you're interested, make sure you go sign up ASAP. I love Storyblocks, truly. It is such an asset to any content creator, so I highly recommend checking it out. And once again, thanks to Storyblocks for making today's video possible. All right, guys, we are making this happen. Okay, with the intro in place, we are finally ready to really get into the vlog properly, though I'm basically gonna approach it with the same order of operations that we just did the intro. but chunking it scene by scene as we go. Going chronologically now, of course, we start with the clip of me waking up. For this one, I might actually want to use the audio because you can hear my alarm going off. So I'm actually going to drag the whole clip into the timeline and then sort of cut it to give it some jump cuts, I think. I like to use this strategy a lot to kind of condense time. It's like we're seeing one action and we're getting to see all the interesting parts of that action, but without having to wait around. Okay, now the next clip, we'll drag it in there. And there's always a lot at the beginning and end because obviously I have to set up the camera and then crawl back into bed and then pretend to wake up, you know, influencer life. I did not just do the hashtag hand sign. So now I actually have a clip that we're gonna do slightly out of chronological order because I shot this after the fact, but it kind of fits in narratively. So we're gonna have a look out the window and we look back and see me looking out the window. Okay, and then I think at the end of this clip, I kind of go to, and then it kind of makes sense to go back to that original clip once again. I basically filmed the same sort of action twice from different angles. As you can see, my process with this, I'm not watching through every single clip I filmed start to end. I'm actually just scrubbing through it, which helps me get through it a lot quicker. There's no need for me to watch this minute-long clip of me like setting up the camera, waiting for it to stop being shaky, cracking the egg. I can just skip through it really quickly and set my in and out points by hitting I and O on the keyboard on either side of the section of the clip that I actually want to take into the timeline. So at this point, I'm doing this really roughly. I'm going to go back in and refine this more after the fact, but right now I'm just trying to get everything in the order that I want it to appear in the final sequence. I'm most definitely going to make all of these clips shorter, and once I select music to pair with it, then I'll be able to kind of like cut to the beat as well. Girl, you can tell this is an honest vlog because if I wasn't depicting my day honestly, do you really think I would show up on camera looking like this? Okay, we have reached some A-roll. So what I'm going to do for now, because basically everything that I've just shown you, this is going to be a bit of a B-roll sequence, though actually I had kind of intended to have some voiceover go with that. So we're going to record that in just a couple minutes. These few clips here, well, this is one long A-roll clip. And it is long. I like talked so long. So let's just put that there for now. And these sections I had intended to be like B-roll that I would put over top of this to kind of make it more interesting. We're just gonna leave those in the media pool for the time being as well. And we'll come back when we're editing this A-roll sequence. Now, because I did plan out this vlog a little bit in advance, like I knew the kind of stuff I wanted to talk about in it, I did have predetermined segments in my mind. So now we've reached the end of the first segment that I was kind of calling like morning routine in my head. And I knew that that segment would include like a B-roll montage of me basically getting ready for the day, having breakfast and stuff. And I had a voiceover pre-written that I'm going to record now. And then we have the more like off the cuff A-roll segment while I'm doing my hair. So I think I'm going to go ahead and record that voiceover now. So I have it ready and I can start to line up that montage, not only with the music that I'm going to pick, but also the voiceover. And then I'm just going to go through the long and arduous process of trying to cut down my talking head segment because I chatted to the camera for like 15 minutes and I want this vlog to be like 20 minutes total. So there's going to be a lot that I have to cut out and that is just tedious. So I just got to lock in and get it done. So we are now like 8.5 minutes into a vlog that I anticipate being somewhere in the 20 to 25 minute range, or at least that's what I'm aiming for. We'll see, I might have to come back and cut some of this down to get it to that point. I think I'm gonna call it here though, and I'm gonna do a little bit of editing, just a little bit, on my own. But we're gonna reconvene tomorrow. I'll show you what I've done, and hopefully we can get this vlog across the finish line. Good night. Well, hello. We are back at it. It is day 2 of editing this vlog. Probably spent about an hour editing this video off camera. So let me show you what I've done. This is me going out and working from a coffee shop. I've made all the A-roll orange so that you can see how I've used it. All these blue clips are B-roll, and obviously the green is background music. It's the same formula that I've been using again and again. Chunks of A-roll, some B-roll interstitials to help us transition from one segment of talking to the next. One thing thing that I did here that's a little bit different is I've used 2 different colors here to indicate 2 different segments of A-roll. So here I'm like walking back from the cafe chatting, and then here I was actually talking in the cafe. I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to say on camera while I was working at this coffee shop, but sitting in a coffee shop with other people, you feel very awkward just like having a conversation with your camera. I find it much easier when I'm just walking along a quiet pathway with nobody else around to like chat away to the camera. So to try to help balance it out a little bit, you can see I've started using some of this walk and talk footage as voiceover basically, but narratively it wouldn't make sense if we would be flipping back and forth between me walking down this path and then scenes of me sitting in the cafe, because it's like, well, where are we? Aren't we in the coffee shop right now? Why are you all of a sudden walking? I've made sure that while we're seeing me on screen in the coffee shop, this is all just voiceover. Like, we don't actually see me. And then I switched to a quick clip here of me exiting the cafe. So we're leaving now. You see a shot of the street, and then we see me on camera walking and talking. So even though this audio has been playing for the last like 15 seconds or whatever, we haven't actually seen me walking and talking until we've established through the B-roll that that's where I am. It's just a small thing that helps with the continuity of your vlogs and makes it feel more consistent so you're not like jumping around locations all the time. As we dive back in the edit here, I want to tell you about the 5 steps to editing any scene. You can copy and paste this exact workflow across all the scenes you're going to include in your vlog. And I think it's a good way to thoroughly approach each scene so you can make it as engaging as possible. So step 1, as you've seen, is the initial chronological rough cut. This is where I bring the clips into the timeline one at a time, simply in chronological order. There's 2 different approaches here. If it's an A-roll clip, I'm just going to drag the entire A-roll clip, obviously including video and audio, into the timeline. If it's a B-roll clip, I'm going to quickly select the section of the clip that I think is usable, so obviously cutting out any part where I'm like setting the camera up and pressing record or stopping it at the end. I'm going to put these in the timeline chronologically, and I'm going to kind of chunk them together. So B-roll clips that happen all in the same sequence of events, I'm going to put in one clump. A-roll, I'm going to leave kind of hanging out on its own. And if I plan to include any voiceover, or if through the course of editing I've kind of noticed that there's some context missing or I didn't film a lot of A-roll, I'll record that and put it in the timeline as well. Step number 2 is the A-roll edit. Now I'll go back through and I'll cut out any pauses, ums and ahs, or mistakes from the A-roll so that all that's left is the sections that I actually want to keep. Step number 3 is the voiceover edit. I'll do the same process with the voiceover, cutting out any pauses or mistakes. And once that is done, I will take the voiceover and the A-roll and I'll kind of meld it together. Step number 4 is the B-roll edit. So now I'm going to take those chunks of B-roll and I'm going to layer them over segments of A-roll where it makes sense. And of course, using it to cover up the voiceover section so that there's not like a blank screen. I might also leave some segments of B-roll intentionally with no audio behind them at this point if I want them to be a little bit of a montage with music. And finally, step number 5, we're going to add the music, any sound effects, or any visual effects like overlays or animations. Remembering that we want the music to really enhance the emotion that we've already established in the scene, and also thinking about how we can contrast the feeling of this scene as opposed to the scene that comes before and after it. I just added in the music for the outro, cut together the voiceover, and we have come in at 20 minutes and 33 seconds, which in my opinion is a perfect length for a vlog. Let me give you a quick tour of the final timeline. What you can see here is the alternating talking tracks on A1 and 2. We've got 2 music tracks that alternate the same way so that I can overlap them a bit. This track has all our ambient noises, so sounds from B-roll that I wanted to include in the video, but I didn't want them to be too loud, so I can like turn them down there. And then finally we have our sound effects, so anytime there's like a little camera shutter or like a click or whatever I might be using. And then the top layer is like overlays or extra B-roll where I wanted to preserve the A-roll. I hope this was a helpful look into my editing process, and I also hope that you've seen that it doesn't have to be super overwhelming or intimidating when you have a system. Yes, it takes time, I'm not gonna lie, it's a time-consuming process, but you just have to go through my 5-step system, scene by scene, and slowly but surely your vlog will come together, I promise. Now, if you're feeling like you don't have the time commitment, because yeah, here's the total tally of the hours that I spent on this edit, I'll calculate it after the fact. That's valid. I see you. I do have a team of video editors over at my agency, Creatorly Media. We provide editing services for YouTubers. For that exact reason, editing is a time-consuming process. You have other stuff you gotta do. So if you're looking for help with editing your videos, you can go to creatorlymedia.com and see all the details about it there. But I truly believe in your ability to edit your first vlog on your own. I want you to go and try it. Let me know how it goes in the comments. And once again, make sure to check out Storyblocks for all of your stock media needs. As always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!